Hi there. So I'm reading my first poem for two reasons. Number one, it's by Elizabeth Alexander, who's now the most well known for her inaugural poem at the Barack Obama inauguration. But I was introduced to Elizabeth Alexander 10 years ago in a graduate seminar by Harriet Mullen. And so this is in honor of Harriet. The other reason is it's about DC summers, which I escaped. My regular gig is at Georgetown. So I escaped this summer, DC summers. You might all be like, why did you come here then? But DC summers, as we will learn, are sizzling. So this poem is called In DC by Elizabeth Alexander. In DC, there are black women with golden afros and African print jumpsuits. Sidewalks sizzle in summer, a languid, loving fizz. Hey girl, hissing from the streets. Ambient, hey girl, on all sides. Walk up and down Georgia Avenue or Florida Avenue or Columbia Road. How you doing? Hey. You never know what you will miss when you leave, what will call you back, what will disappear forever, or what was never there. Quite as you now see it, hear it, write it in memory's poem. That was Elizabeth Alexander. And then in honor of where I did spend my summer, in Austin, I'm going to read a poem by Dean Young, who's in the English department here at UT. And that poem is called He Said Turn Here, and there's lots of water in the poem, which, as many of you know, we had none of this summer. But it's about lakes, so to be fair, we still have lakes. He said, turn here. And then Tony showed us the lake where he had thrown some of his sadness last summer, and it had dissolved like powder, so he thought maybe the lake could take some of the radiant aluminum kind he had been making lately, and it did. It was a perfect lake. None of the paint had chipped off, no bolts showing, the arms that Dante and Virgil would have to hack through, not even breaking the surface. Mumbling Italian to itself, it had climbed down 2 wooden stairs, back to the beach now that the rains were done. How strange to be water so close to the ocean, yet the only water you get to talk to comes from the sky. Maybe this is why it seems so willing to take on Tony's sadness, which sometimes corrodes his friends, which is really many different sadnesses, smaller and smaller, surrounded by more and more space, each a world and at its core an engine like a bee inside a lily, like a buzzing inside the bee. It seems like nothing could change its color, although we couldn't tell what color it was. It kept changing. In the summer, Tony says he comes down early each day and there's no one around, so the lake barely says a thing when he dives in. And once, when his kitchen was on fire in Maine and he was asleep, the lake came and bit his hand, trying to drag him to safety. And some nights in New Mexico, he can hear it howling, searching for him in the desert. So we're glad Tony has this lake, and we promise to come back in August and maybe swim with him across, maybe even race.